Hello, my name is Chris Thompson, Master Coach, and I'm coming to you with this training on how to get the best results out of coaching. And I've coached thousands of people over the years, done thousands of coaching sessions over the years. Since 2007, I've been coaching. And I've noticed several things that people do to themselves to self-sabotage their own success in a coaching relationship. So either you're watching this video because you're a coaching client of mine, or your coach may have sent this to you to help you get the most results out of that coaching relationship. And that's what I'm going to here to help you do today. A lot of these common mistakes that we do to sabotage our own results. Sometimes when people hire a coach or a mentor, and by the way, you deserve a coach. You don't need one. You deserve one. This is something that you're going to do. You never outgrow your coach. You will always need a coach. You will always perform better at a higher level with coaching. You will get insights you wouldn't otherwise be able to see. I don't care how old you are, young you are, how educated you are. You will never be able to see everything going on with you because you're too close to it. So this is how you're going to get the best results out of coaching. Some patterns and common mistakes I see people do to self-sabotage themselves. Sometimes folks get into coaching or mentoring and they almost view it as some kind of magic charm almost, it seems like that. Well, I hired the coach, so like they kind of sit back and wait for like the coach to stir something up within them, or wait for the coach to be that missing ingredient for them to kind of maintain the same pattern they've been doing. And they kind of sit back sometimes passively, I've noticed over the years, waiting for like their, something to magical happen just because they hired a coach. And it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not your coach's responsibility to produce results for you. They're not getting paid on your results. You're paying them, right? You get paid all the benefit of your results. All the results you produce, you are getting 100% of the benefit from that, other than your coach, if they're anything like me, just being really happy that you're succeeding, because we like testimonials. We like to see people succeed. That's why we're in this profession. So that's what this is about. So just be aware that your responsibility, these are things that are your responsibility, but you have a responsibility as a client in a coaching relationship. Your coach also has responsibilities, and if you're unclear on what those are, review your coaching agreement with your coach, or if you don't have a coaching agreement with your coach, get together with your coach and get real clarity on what responsibilities, what are the expectations between you and your coach. What is your coach responsible for doing? What is your responsibility for doing in that coaching relationship? Because a coaching relationship is a team effort. Okay, I can bring things to a coaching relationship my client can't bring, and they can bring things to it that I can't bring. We create synergy together. So when I work with my clients, they have insights into themselves that, because they're with themselves every day, they know all their experiences, they know how their family interacts with them, they know their product that they're selling, maybe, or the kind of business that they have. They're going to know those details that I may not know. So they're going to bring the everyday being around themselves to the table, and I'm going to bring a perspective that's not biased. I'm going to be able to bring insights, be able to see things that they're not going to be able to see, because I'm simply trained to do that. So I'll be able to spot through languaging, through beliefs, through behaviors, what's going on in situations they're simply not going to be able to see. Kind of like how you may have something in your teeth. We've all had this experience. You have something in your teeth, right? Or whatever it might be, and something on your face, whatever. And we've all had this experience. And you go around socializing with people, and everyone's ha-ha with you, and then you go finally look in the mirror at the end of the night, and you realize you got a big piece of spinach in your teeth, or whatever. And you're humiliated almost in a way. You're almost like, oh my goodness, why didn't somebody tell me I had something in my teeth? How long has that been there? Were people like mocking me, going, oh my gosh, look at, look at this person over here. They have something in their teeth, right? And that's kind of what we all are. We all have something in our teeth because we're simply too close to the situation for us to be able to see it. It's underneath our awareness level. Okay? One way I might illustrate it is this way. If you ever had a pair of sunglasses and you're wearing those sunglasses around, whatever, and then you take them off at some point and you look at the sunglasses and you start to see all the smudges that are on the sunglasses. And you go, oh my goodness, these sunglasses are filthy. So you clean off the sunglasses and you put them back on, and all of a sudden you can see so much clearer, right? Why didn't you see that your sunglasses were dirty before? Well, the answer is because you were too close to them. You couldn't see the full extent of what smudges were on your sunglasses. And coaching is like that. We all walk around thinking we have this projection of ourselves that we put out to the world, thinking that we're fooling everybody. And you're not fooling everybody. Everyone can see what you're projecting. You may not even be aware of what you're projecting because it's subconsciously out there. It's based on state of mind and beliefs you have about yourself. And a lot of us have fronts that we put out. All of us really have fronts that we put out so we can receive approval in society in general. And we think people think certain things about us because we really intend for them to think certain things about us. So that's where we fall short a lot of the time. Or sometimes we're taking actions on things we have our life is running us, so we never stop to take a look and go, okay, so from a bird's eye view, right? Just like you're in a GPS, right? You want to go somewhere, you're going to put it in your GPS. It's going to give you that bird's eye, drone kind of view, aerial view of where you're going. You have a different perspective. You can kind of see your progress differently. And so that's what happens a lot of the times. We're too close to a situation. Our weaknesses we're not present to. We're simply not aware of it. So we don't know what's going on until we take the time to stop and take a look at those sunglasses, right? And also, we may have had, with the food and the teeth analogy, aren't you grateful to have someone to say, pull you aside and go say, hey, look, you have something in your teeth, a little something right there. And then you're grateful, right? I know I have been in that situation. And I'm super grateful this person stopped me, even if it was a little embarrassing, right? To say, hey, look, you got something in your teeth, take care of that, right? So you take care of it, and you're grateful to your friend for looking out for you. That's the kind of thing that a coach will do. A coach will help you to be able to see what you can't see in yourself. Because your coach is the only person in your life that has zero agenda. They're the only person in your life out of everyone you know that is not trying to get something from you for them. Okay? Significant others, children, parents, you name it, everyone that you meet, you have something in their life, at least your regular life, right? Coworkers, friends, family. They've got something where you fit in their life and they're getting their needs met through you. So everything they tell you is going to be somewhat biased on their wanting to continue to have you meet their needs in some way, shape, or form. It's not 100% focused on you. And your coach is the person in your life that has that relationship with you. They're totally focused on you creating results that you want to create in your life. Okay? It's a critical relationship, and it is almost like having a superpower. It truly is. Having a coach is a superpower, but you have to do your part. Okay? You have your responsibilities that you bring to it. I've had clients say to me, because I help people with relationships and attraction and bringing love back in and finding their ideal mate, and women how to get along with guys, and guys how to get along well with women and create great relationships, romantically and otherwise. I also help people with building their businesses, getting clients, sales, all of those pieces, marketing, all those pieces, how to get clients. And I, when I'm interacting with people in these ways, that's the value that I'm bringing to them in my particular area, right? So my responsibility is to bring that. But I've had people that I've worked with say things to me when they're, signing up, saying, Chris, if you can get me this result, just through their languaging, they'll say that to me, and I'll stop them. I'll say, stop. I'm not going to get you any result. You're going to get the result. Why? Because it's their responsibility. You as the client, it's your responsibility to produce the result. I will cheerlead, I will give content, anything I can, state of mind, coaching, mentoring, kick you in the a little kick you in the butt, right, when you need it, give you a big hug and some love when maybe you need it and you're a little discouraged. All that stuff I can do for somebody. Point out things that value in yourself you may not always see. All of those things I can do. But I cannot produce a result for you. It's not my responsibility. And it's not your coach's responsibility to produce a result for you. My responsibility, and I'm highly skilled at this, is to bring insight to the relationship. I've had clients work with me for years and years and years, 7, 8, 9, 10 years in some cases, where I'm continue to bring out insights into them. That is what you want for your coach. You never outgrow it. We will always perform at a higher level with a coach. You deserve a coach. You don't need a coach. But you have a responsibility. Your coach has responsibility. So this conversation is going to be about what your responsibilities are in general as a coaching client. And we all have a role of being the client in our relationship with somebody at some point, or being the mentee. So these are common mistakes. I'm going to go through these, but I wanted to point that out to you. You have your responsibilities. Your coach has their responsibilities. If you don't have an agreement in writing, get clarity on that. Have a conversation, email, texting, whatever works for you to make sure you both understand how each of you are required to show up in this relationship. We don't typically get upset at what happens to us. We get upset when our expectations are violated. And what a lot of people do that gets them frustrated in their lives is because they sign other people up for expectations without checking in with that person agrees to that expectation. And then they make that person wrong, and they wonder why people don't want to hang out with them anymore. You can't make expectations for people without them signing up and saying, I agree to follow through on that expectation. So that's what this is about. It's about your expectations that you're going to bring to any coaching relationship. And this is not a comprehensive list. These are just some things that I put together because a lot of people will come to a coaching relationship, and while my coaching is not a lot of money, and yours likely that you're with your coach is likely not a lot of money in comparison to the value that you're going to receive. I know for me, I know I can bring tons more value than I charge, and it's going to be life-changing. I know that. I'm highly skilled. I've studied it for a long time, and I'm totally committed to delivering that value. So I'm highly confident. I have no problem suggesting someone go get a second job so that they can hire me to coach them because I'm going to bring the value. Okay, but this is how you get that return out. So a lot of people will come to me and they will do this, and it's a lot of money to them, though. I just said, I know the value is going to be there. This is about value, not cost, okay? People who produce results, they're focused on value. They're not focused on costs of things, okay? A lot of people trip over pennies to get the dollars. This is about you producing results. So I also understand and respect that for a lot of people when they hire their first coach or hire their first mentor, I know it was for me when I hired my first mentor, I really couldn't afford to hire my first mentor. I really couldn't afford it. It really was not something most people would do, okay? But mentorship coaching allows you to take advantage of decades of experience and avoiding mistakes that you can benefit from in mere seconds simply by having that coaching relationship. No, you really want to really let that sink in and get that value is really priceless to be able to get that. You can get decades ahead in the learning curve by hiring this mentor and coach that you have. So let's talk about that, okay? So this is a lot of money for a lot of people to get into coaching in their mind a lot of times the first time. To them, it's a lot of money. It's not a lot of money, but to them, it's a lot of money, and I honor and respect that. So I put this together because I want to see you produce some results. Whether you're coaching with me or you're coaching with somebody else as your coach, I want you to produce results and have a better, get the most out of it, whether that's emotionally or financially or to produce actual physical results that move the needle in your life. So here's some things. We'll go through them here. Okay, so how to get the best results out of coaching. Number one on the list here is block out the time on your schedule for your sessions. Make sure you mark them on your calendar. Okay, you got to take this seriously, right? And you've got to show up. You got to show up, block it in your calendar. If you're not using a calendar, start using a calendar. You cannot make more money, you cannot produce more results, you cannot communicate that you're valuable to other people if you don't value your time. If you don't value your time, you won't do anything with it. One of the first steps to intentionally producing improved results in our lives is recognizing the value of your time, because it's the one thing you can't get back. You can get more money, but you can't get more time. So block out the time for your coaching session on your schedule. Make sure you mark it in your calendar. Make sure it's on an alert system so that you can show up on time. Make sure that you don't schedule things around it so that you have stuff show up that make you unable to make your session. Sometimes you may even have a coaching relationship where you lose the time with your coach if you don't show up on time. Okay, especially if they're like a really high-end coach and they're an extreme expert maybe in their particular profession. They really are not. They're not gonna, like, that's your time they block out for you. You're not getting that time back if you show up 20 minutes late. Okay, so really, really critical. Make sure you mark it on your calendar. Make sure you set up alerts so you don't forget. I've been a pretty nice guy in a lot of my career where I try to work with people because I understand occasionally things happen as long as it's not a pattern of behavior. Okay, but I have had people that I've worked with that it was a pattern of behavior, and I had to tell them, stop it, or I'm going to have to fire you. Okay, your coach can fire you if you're not showing up for sessions. Okay, that's the critical component of coaching, right? Your responsibility, show up on your schedule for your sessions, or you're communicating that you're really not committed to improving your life, right? If you don't show up on time at your job, how long are you going to keep the job, right? So make sure you mark them on your calendar, and you have a recall system that is foolproof, so that if you're not able to show up to your session, right, that you at least communicate with the person, hey, something came up, I had to go to the ER. Okay, communicate that, but there should never be a situation where you're consistently not showing up for your sessions. There should never be a situation where if you don't show up, you don't communicate about it. That's part of being a good teammate, and that's what this is. This is a teammate situation. Okay, so block out that time on your schedule. Make sure you have a system to alarm you, and make sure that you don't overbook yourself so that you're not on time for your sessions. As I said, be on time for your session. Okay, it's easy to be on time, guys, or whoever's listening to this. It's easy to be on time when you don't have anything going on. Okay, the challenge for this is when you're busy, and I'll admit this is a challenge for me to really manage the flow of my energy and time to be on time for your sessions. So maybe you block everything out where it ends 15 minutes before your session to give you a little leeway, whatever you need. Okay, but be on time for your session, or it's going to cost you time with your coach. That's time that you're setting aside that you're producing results with, okay, or you're going to get insights to help you produce results. Take it seriously. Be on time. Block out the time in your schedule, just like you would for a serious doctor's appointment or an appointment at work. We all have certain appointments that we make sure we're there for. Okay, so that's number one and number two. May seem pretty basic, but you'd be surprised how few people simply don't show up for sessions, say, oh, I forgot. Again, if you forgot, then you don't have a good system. You're either not taking it seriously enough to produce results, or you have a poor structure in place to remind you to show up. You should never forget you had a session. Okay. 3, leave some time prior to each session to prepare. Right? I mentioned 15 minutes early. Really, I'd like to go a little earlier than that, at least 30. But you want to take some time prior to each session to prepare for that session. You'll want to take and handle all potential distractions prior to that session. Take the dog out, go to the bathroom, turn off or unplug any other phones in the house or alerting devices. Let your family or coworkers know not to disturb you. This is absolutely critical. It's also critical so that you know what you want to cover on your session. One of the most common ways clients don't get results from their sessions is they tend to not think about what is important but not urgent in their life to get a result in. They'll tend to be too present moment focused, and they'll just talk about something that's top of mind for them. And what's top of mind for you may not be the most valuable thing to cover in that session. That is your responsibility to bring something awesome that's really important, or something that's really a big deal to you, to handle in your session. That is your responsibility as a client or a mentee. It's not the responsibility of your mentor. I'm highly skilled at being able to pull out different things to work on, but most coaches, when they get into coaching, they're going to ask you, what do you want to cover today you feel will move you towards your goals the most? Or what would you like to cover today you think that'll make the biggest difference to move you forward in your life? And if you're saying, I don't know, you're not holding up your end of the bargain. Okay, so leave some time prior to the session to prepare. Get rid of those distractions, right? So you can focus on the session. You're not sitting there in the session the whole time having to go to the bathroom, right? And you're not really present because you just keep thinking, I got to go to the bathroom, right? So may seem basic, but again, take it seriously. This is where the rubber meets the road for you. So leave some time prior to each session to prepare. I'd recommend at least 15 minutes. But be sure you have one or two things that you want to cover with your coach on that session, challenges you're facing. Review everything since your last session with them. How have things been going? What's gone well? What hasn't gone well? Right? Any patterns of behavior showing up or any patterns of results showing up. Okay, cool. So we have that. Next, have a journal specifically for your coaching sessions. Have a place, whether you use a hardbound journal or you use your phone or you use a file in your computer system, tablet, whatever it is, have a journal specifically for your coaching sessions. Make sure you have it in front of you along with some pens if you're going to be writing it down, or if it's your device, make sure your device is charged so that you are able to save important information from your sessions. I also suggest someone have a glass of water prior to the call, or have it there so that in case you get a little choked up or something, you get a little dry mouth or dry throat, you start coughing or something, you've got a little water there you can just kind of sip and keep everything in your speaking flow going. Don't be driving. Okay? Don't be somewhere public where you won't feel comfortable in. You are not going to get the best results out of a coaching relationship if you're driving. You're not going to be focused on your session. If you're somewhere public, maybe there's your family around you or coworkers around you, or somewhere that you don't feel comfortable sharing what's really going on with you. You're not going to get the value out of your session that you could be getting. Whatever you can't say owns you and runs your life, so it's going to impact what you have. Again, think about it. If you only have a couple of hours a month or an hour a week or 30 minutes a week or whatever you have with your coach, that's really a small period of time in comparison to the rest of the month, the rest of the week, right? So take that. We want to get the most use out of that. So have a journal for those sessions. Have a place to keep your insights from that session. Next thing, be honest on the call. You might think that would be easy, but it's not for a lot of folks. Be willing to share everything. Nothing is too big or too small to bring up in your session. When you hold back, you're holding back on yourself, and you are not allowing your coach, or myself if I'm coaching you, to guide you as much as I could. Do not hold back afraid you'll be judged or criticized for what you're saying. It's a reflection of what has caused you to get the results you currently have. If you don't say it, it will continue to have power over your life. Okay? What you can't say owns you and runs your life. You first have to acknowledge it, and that won't have near the power on you. And I'm telling you, this happens all the time. I'll coach somebody, I ask them questions. The first answer is, I don't know. Well, if you don't know, then who does? What commonly happens here is the first answer when your coach asks you a question, if you're saying I don't know, what that often is it's your conscious mind attempting to protect you from pain. That's the purpose of our conscious mind. The purpose of our conscious mind is to protect us from pain. If it's painful, our conscious mind tries to avoid looking at it. Okay? So we rationalize, we distract ourselves. This is very common human behavior. And our friends will buy that stuff. Sometimes our friends, you go to them and they'll ask you what's wrong and you make up something else, or you say, I don't know. They're going to let you do that, right? But your coach isn't going to let you do that. Like, you can't get away with that with me, right? Because I know that you know. I know you know. That's your response. Your response is like, this is painful. Let me distract myself from looking at this. So oftentimes the first answer that you have, the purpose of the brain is to answer whatever question you ask it. Okay. So if I ask you a question or your coach asks you a question, and your first answer is, I don't know, that usually means the first answer that came to your brain was too painful, so you skipped it. Ooh, that hurts. What else am I going to say? You skipped it because you didn't want to share it. You're afraid you were going to look bad. You were embarrassed. You felt like a failure. Whatever it was. And that's exactly the thing you want to bring up in your session. The part that made you go, I don't know. Because you can't get away with that with me or your coach. I'm going to hear that. I'm going to go, there you go. There it is. There's the truth that's holding you back. Okay? So be willing to share everything. This is private. Okay, no one else is going to hear your set. Like with me, all of my coaching is absolutely private. I don't share anything on it. In my contract and my agreement, it specifically states that we have privacy. So I'm not going to share anything that you share with me without your permission. And if I ever did share anything, it would be so like over the top. Protected in a commonality situation. Nobody would have any idea that was you. Okay, ever. And you can always say, hey, don't tell anybody about this too. I would never share that. So I just want you to know that if you're working with me or you're working with your coach, pretty much we don't share private stuff. And if we do share anything, we make it so general that nobody would have any idea who we're talking about. And generally, I don't share things unless I just straight up ask somebody, hey, is it okay if I share this with people? And most people will agree with that. But I want you to know that's private. We're not sharing it. And if I'm doing relationship coaching with you, or you are doing coaching around relationship, I've coached couples and things over the years. I don't share stuff between the couples either. If I'm coaching the one party or the other, I'm not sharing what the other party said without their permission. I'm not doing that. That is your time. So I would recommend that you follow that same thing. Hold your coach to that same thing. So be honest on the call. Okay, we can't deal with it if you're not honest and it's out there. If you're honest and it's out there, we can deal with anything. Okay, and you're not going to be judged. Okay. I know for me, I've been doing this such a long time. There's pretty much nothing you could say that would shock me. I've heard it all. So I haven't been like shocked by anything anyone's told me in so long. I can't remember the last time it happened. So just be honest. Whatever you're dealing, someone has probably dealt with it here, and I've probably dealt with it with a client, or your coach probably has dealt with it with someone else before. So again, the key thing is to get it out there. We're not going to judge you. We're here to help you. We're here to help you get a different result. And we're coaches. We're not here to sentence people or whatever you think is going to happen. And I've had people say it to me, Chris, I'm going to let you down, or you're going to be disappointed in me, or you're going to be mad at me. I'm never mad at you. I'm never disappointed in you if you're working with me. Okay. I want to point out something. I don't get attached to what my clients do. I would love to see you be successful, but I also have my own flaws as a person. Your coach probably has their own flaws as a person as well, at least we all do, right? So I always remember that when I'm working with somebody, that sometimes it took me longer than I felt it should for me to get an insight. So if it's like, hey, we've covered this before, oh my gosh, you need to cover it again maybe. Maybe it isn't sticking, right? Or we have to re-examine, more depth on the matter. So I want you to know you're not going to be judged. You're not going to be put down. We all have our weaknesses, and likely I could sympathize with whatever you're dealing with. I've probably been through it myself, or certainly had someone I've worked with who dealt with it. So don't be afraid. We're all on the same level here. We're all human beings. So be honest, put it out there, and it's a safe place. Okay. So if you can't say it, it will continue to have power over you in your life. Let it out. Be truly honest, and you'll get the insights, you'll get the change you're looking for much more likely. Okay, write down and document challenges throughout daily life that come up if you want to cover on our sessions if you're working with me or with your coach. Be sure that you keep a notes in your phone or whatever you're doing as you're going through your day. This is a very common issue that I've noticed with coaching clients. I'll coach somebody. I'll write down, hey, I'll ask them, how's it been going since the last time we spoke? I usually want to know what are the challenges or the victories that you've had if you're working with me since the last time we spoke. And they'll go, I'm All right, I don't know what I want to cover. Okay, look, as you're going through your week or your couple weeks, because a lot of coaching relationships, mentoring relationships, you're not talking every day, you're talking once a week or every other week. It's critical that you keep notes about things you may want to cover with your coach, things that you have challenges you want to ask about. That's your responsibility to do. Nobody can tell you what's happening in your business or your life but you. It's priceless information. It's your responsibility. Again, I'm highly skilled at being able to pull out and kind of figure out, make really good educated guesses on what's going on in your business or your life. Okay, I know how to follow the tracks to get pretty darn close a lot of the time, but I will never be able to know everything that's going on and hit exactly what you need, that you want to, the things you want to change. This is how you'll do that. Document what you want to cover, document challenges, things you're experiencing, get specific on it. When you're put on the spot, sometimes it's hard to remember, isn't it? And then it's like, oh yeah, I want to talk to my coach about that argument that I had, or that coworker, or that sale person didn't purchase, or whatever. And if you're coaching with me, and likely your coach, you probably have some kind of email or text arrangement with them, where you can shoot them a quick message and probably get some level of support on that in between your sessions. But you may not be able to always call them up and just get them on the phone, because our time is taken through appointments. If you're working with me, we can generally set up something to check in on something for 10 or 15 minutes or something brief in between sessions. I'm not opposed to that if I can fit you in my calendar, okay? Or you can shoot me a text, or you can send me an email. I'll do the best I can to fill in between. But it would so much better if you come to the session with things that you want to cover. And then you and I, if you're working with me, we can collaborate on what's the most valuable thing to cover that day for you to get the results that you're looking for and accelerate your results. But that's your responsibility. Write that stuff down. Document that stuff. What challenges are you dealing with? Number 7 is one of my favorites. This is a great one. Block 30 minutes after your coaching calls to get started on your commitments, if you've made any. Make any necessary changes while they're fresh on your mind. It's much harder to get started on a commitment a few days later, when the motivation and clarity of that moment is gone that you got in your session. In addition to that, waiting until the last minute means any little thing that can happen will make you not complete your commitments and not move you forward. Now you're out of integrity if that happens. If you get them started early, then you'll have less stress and enjoy the confidence that comes from accomplishment. And lastly, if you have any question, it gives you time to contact your coach or myself if I'm your coach and get some support on that particular challenge. Block 30 minutes after your coaching session. You are never going to be more likely to take action than when you get out of a coaching session. You're likely going to be in a peak state, fired up. Peak state. When I say peak state, I mean peak state of mind. You're most likely to feel powerful coming out of a coaching session, feeling positive, feeling like you can take on the world. That's when you get started on a tough problem. That's when you start getting some momentum on it. You don't have to get the whole thing done, but maybe block out that 30 minutes and get moving on it. And I've experienced this myself many times, where when I got moving on something, it made it so much easier for me to get momentum on it right after my session, rather than, oh gosh, I don't want to do this, and I find myself avoiding it. And then you get like the strain of knowing that the clock is ticking until you got to talk to your coach, right? And you send it in 5 minutes before you're supposed to speak to them again, and it's like a total stress factor. Or something happens, then you're not able to follow through on it, and then now you have to have a session with your coach and be reminded you didn't follow through. Okay, all that can easily be avoided if you just block the 30 minutes after your sessions to get going on your commitments. I'm going to suggest you make commitments, because commitments are things that will move you forward on your goals. If you didn't need to commit to it in order to do it, you likely would have already done it and you'd already have the goal accomplished. So commitments is where all of your progress is going to be. It's going to be in the things you didn't naturally want to do. Now, if you're coaching with me, we would work on not just accountability to help make sure you do the commitments, the things that you maybe didn't actually want to do, but we'll also work on your belief system. So the things that you may start out not wanting to do, you will get to a point where you want to do those things, and they're easy to do. Okay, but in the beginning, it isn't always that way, right? That's why I want to suggest all success or failure is a function of broken promises. The coaching clients I've had in my career that get the best results all made commitments and followed through on their commitments and let me hold them accountable to themselves. I'm not holding you accountable. I'm not holding you accountable to me. You're not making the commitment to me. You're making the commitment to you, and I'm simply enforcing that commitment. I'm not attached to whether you do it or don't do it. I have my own business. I have my own job. I'm not attached to whether you as a client do or don't do something. I'd love to see you be successful though, so I'm going to enforce that commitment that you made to yourself, right? So this is critical. I'm going to suggest that you make commitments and that you block out some time to get going on those things that maybe the things you might naturally avoid. And your confidence will go through the roof when you do this. Your esteem will go through the roof when you do this. Because you will then start to trust yourself. You'll then start to believe yourself when you say you're going to do something. And that Jiminy Cricket in your mind that goes, oh, you're not going to do that, starts to get shushed up because now you're following through. So this is you being congruent with yourself and becoming the best version of yourself, and then everything starts to come in alignment at that point because you change your state of mind, your posture shifts, your state changes, your confidence goes up, and then people go, oh my goodness, what got into him or her? And then boom, they want to start paying attention to you. They start following you. What changed with you? What got into you? So that's what we want for you. So block those 30 minutes after, get going on those commitments and make commitments. Don't be afraid. Don't turn this into a Q&A. Don't turn your coaching relationship into a Q&A session. How-tos are probably not going to be the main issue in your coaching, okay? That's stopping you from moving forward. It's probably going to be, why aren't you doing it? Okay? So really focus on why must you do the thing. Really focus on that, not necessarily making coaching a Q&A session where you're asking questions and getting answers. That's going to keep you in your intellectual thinking brain, your analytical critical brain. It's not going to actually cause you to make new behavior changes most of the time. Cool. Next, 8, reply to my daily email to you every business day. So this is what I do, okay? I do a daily email to my clients I work with. Or I certainly have done it many times. Whether I'm currently doing it when you review this video or not, I do not know. Because there have been times I've done it and times I have taken a break from doing it. But I would recommend that if you're doing this with me, or if you have a coach, that you send them an email or a text, some kind of communication, especially if you're doing a business. Okay, because a business requires daily or at least several days a week a focused activity to produce results. Even if you're in a weight loss situation or a health situation where you're trying to improve your health, this is a great strategy. Even if you're in a relationship issue, trying to attract a relationship, or you're trying to heal a loving relationship, this will still be a phenomenal habit to get into. Okay, because all these things are done incrementally, day by day, minute by minute. Right? We're forced to live our lives that way, day by day, minute by minute, hour by hour. We can't really do it in a different way, right? So either reply to one if I'm sending it out to you every day at this time that you're viewing this, or if I'm not offering that at this time, then send it to me anyway, or send it to your coach saying, hey, this is what happened today. Whether you like it or you don't like it, go ahead and send it anyway. Your coach is there to help you. One of the coolest things about coaching is, where else can you have someone that you could have daily access to for such a little amount of money? I mean, if you really think about it, whatever you're paying for your coach is probably less than $50 a day, $20 a day, whatever, depending on the person. And their success level, what they bring. It's not a lot of money to be able to do that. You can't hire someone to work for you for that little amount of money, right? But you can have your coach work with you every day for that little amount of money in most cases, to be able to have some connection to their experience. So use that. If you're with me and you're coaching with me, or you have another coach, use that, right? So that's critical. Send a communication, text, email, whatever it is that you have arranged with your coach, so that you can communicate what's going on during the day, each day, or at least several times a week. Those who do this get dramatically better results than those who do not, or the ones who do it just to report when good things happen. Let me let you all in on a secret, okay? So I've been coaching people for a long, long time, and I have sent out a daily accountability email to my clients in the past for years at a time in some situations. I'm talking, there were times in my career where I would send it for 5 years in a row and barely miss a day. Okay? There have been other times in my business where I didn't offer it, and I didn't send it out every day because I didn't offer it. Okay? But the times I did send it out, I sent it out every day for years. And there were only a few times I might miss because I had to do a speech or something, and I always sent it out personally. I didn't have an autoresponder send it out, although I certainly could have, and that's an option. But here's the point. The point is, if I could send that thing out every single day, that daily email out every single day with content and ways to support my team, because that's what I would do with my coaching clients, I put some content in there every single day, a success message, help them get better. Help them learn something, right? If I could do it every day, then they could reply to it every day. Match my effort was all I was pointing out. Hey, look, if I can do this every single day, all you have to do is hit reply, and you can't do that, that's on you. I'm more committed than you, right? Because I'm not even just sending an email. I'm sending an email with content. So I'm actually bringing something to the table. Right? So that's just my attitude towards it if I'm being coached, is I'm going to be like, hey, wait a second, my coach is sending me a message every single day. Least I can do is match their effort level. And that's what I would say is in every team situation, you're looking for someone who matches your effort level. I would be I was looking for coaching clients when I was doing that would match my effort level. And if you do that, it's a great way to get much more insights, results, incrementally improve. It's a phenomenal way to get better results. Do it in little chunks. Communicate the status update to your coach every business day if you're doing a business or whatever business, how many business days you're doing a week. If it's 3 days a week, do it 3 days a week. Right? If it's once a week, do it once a week. Whatever it is. And I do this with relationships when I coach people on relationships or health. I can specifically remember a client of mine dropping 40 pounds in a short period of time. I want to say it was 60 days, but it might have been a little bit longer. And that's what they did. I wasn't teaching them anything particular beyond the basics of health results, drinking water, working out, those things. But they kept track of what they were doing. They communicated what they were doing when they worked out or didn't work out. And simply by doing that, they lost a lot of weight, released a lot of weight. So that's what I would suggest. Communicate every business day with your coach, whether they send you an accountability email like I used to do or not. Okay, number 9. This is a really great thing. I personally record my coaching sessions with my clients. I personally record them unless they don't want me to, in which case they can let me know that. But most people love having a recording. So I record the sessions. I send them to the client later. This is awesome. They love it because when magic happens on a coaching session, you can't never know when magic will happen. It just happens. And then the client will say to me, Chris, could you say that again? Could you repeat that again? And I always say it's difficult to make the river flow upstream. When we're in the moment, when we're in the flow together, like if you're coaching with me and we're just in the flow, right? Like we're just tag teaming it. Boom, we're just going together, right? We're tag teaming. We're doing that 3-legged race, right? We're in sync, right? It's very difficult to stop and then look at the magic. Okay? When you look at a process, it changes the process, right? When you reveal and talk about that process, the process actually changes. So it's very difficult to stop synergy, stop momentum when you're in it, to try to repeat it. So it's far better if you take the recording of the coaching call or record them yourselves if you want to. If your coach doesn't offer that, go ahead and record your coaching with them yourself, right? And then listen to it. Okay, so here's what I mean. If you listen to it at least once from a third-party perspective rather than when you are in the call, you'll get more out of it. One of my mentors always said to listen to any training 7 times to get it imprinted in your memory. Concept is spaced repetition. That's how you learn songs. That's how you learn movie quotes, is by watching it over and over and over again. Or a song, right? We never sat down and went, hey, I'm going to learn the words to that song, Bohemian Rhapsody or something, right? We don't do that. What we do is we listen to it and we feel it, and we, through spaced repetition of hearing it over and over again, we learn the words to the song. Okay, next. You want to pick specific, measurable, and time-bound goals and focus on them. I did another video on this called "What is Your Why?" going through the goal setting process. If you want more in-depth discussion on that, go ahead and watch that video. Or what you can do, I also did a extensive training on how to set goals. So you can check out that training. Let me know if you need it. I'll get it to you. Okay, but to give you the gist of this, one of the biggest challenges coaching clients make, or way people could get better results from the coaching that they're using, is to pick specific, measurable, and time-bound goals and focus on them. Do not change your goals every month, because you do not get any credit toward accomplishing new goals from the effort that you put in on previous ones. You will end up running down the field but never score. So if you're into football, you'll understand that reference of getting a lot of yards, but you never get in the end zone. That's why they call it the goal. That's why they call it the gold zone or the red zone, because that's where it's difficult to get over and cross into scoring points, because there's not as much room on the field. So this is what people do a lot. So imagine if you start on a journey from Los Angeles to New York and you drive all the way to St. Louis, and then you decide that you want to go to Seattle instead. You're not going to get the credit from that you've already driven, the miles that you've already driven. You're not going to get that credited to you on your journey to Seattle. You have to start a new journey from St. Louis to the distance of whatever it is from St. Louis to Seattle, right? But that's what a lot of people do. They'll start on their goals, they'll get discouraged, they're not clear on the goal, they'll take action on it, but not enough action on it to really move the needle, or do it long enough for the results to show up, because the universe is going to test whether or not you're committed to a goal. Okay, success requires payment up front, right? So what a lot of people do is they will get discouraged. It won't happen as quick as they expect, because expectations kill gratitude, and because a lot of times we don't get upset at what happens to us, we get upset when our expectations are violated. So they will think it's too hard, or I don't want that anymore, or whatever, and they change the goal to something else. So again, every time you do that, you're starting a new journey. So you're chasing your tail if you're not careful. It's far more important to really take the time to get clear on what your goal is. What is the thing that is number one, and prioritize that outcome compared to your other outcomes. And maybe pick a goal, 3 or less, I'd suggest, that is specific to going to make the biggest impact on your life. So when we say specific, okay, this is critical. It has to be something that you can measure. It has to be something that's going to move the needle. It has to be something physical you can show somebody. So fitting in that dress, hitting a certain weight on the scale, body fat percentage, cholesterol level, blood pressure, in a certain amount of income, paying off debt, whatever it is. It's got to be something specific, and then it's got to be measurable. Can you measure if you're 25% of the way to it? 30% of the way to it, 75% of the way to it. If you can't measure it, then it's not a goal, it's an intention. So like I'll hear a lot of people say, I want to make more money. Great, so here's $1. Right? And they're like, well, wait a minute, that's not what I want, it's not what I meant. Okay? It's got to be measurable though. I want to tone up is not measurable. You can't measure a percentage of being toned. Right? It's just a concept. So that's what you're looking for. You're looking for specific outcomes, something that's measurable so you can measure your progress, and you want a time bound to end. So you want a specific deadline. Deadlines drive activity. That will help you access leverage and urgency and all of that so that you can focus on it. Okay? So don't be changing your goals all the time. Pick something and stick to it, because every time you change, you're going to lose. Every time you change it, you're going to lose a little bit of the energy you have too, because you need victories to maintain your long-term distance here. So very, very important. You don't keep changing your goals just because they get a little hard every other month, or saying, oh, I want this instead of that. Okay, it's critical because you only have so much energy and you end up just running in circles. Next, be unstoppable. Follow through on all your commitments without making excuses. All success or failure is decided by your integrity to your promises to yourself. You committed to the commitment for a reason. Do not forget that reason. So being unstoppable is following through no matter what. Okay? And you don't have to make commitments in coaching, but here's the thing is if you don't make commitments, what's going to end up happening, by the way, commitments are to yourself, but what's going to end up happening is you're probably going to end up doing the same stuff that you were already doing. You're probably not going to do anything new that's really a challenge for you. So your confidence isn't going to grow particularly much because you're not going to be getting new victories. You're not going to be building your emotional fitness level because you're not going to be challenging yourself. You're not going to be looking at the things that are difficult and transforming those beliefs to make the difficult easy. All those things are going to get in the way. And if you already could do what you've been doing, then you'd already have the goal. So any goal that you have is going to require commitment to new actions that you're not comfortable doing at the moment. Again, in coaching, whenever I coach a client, we can work through the belief system where you're starting out, maybe you're not feeling excited about it, but you know you must do it, right? And then we can transform the beliefs to where it becomes easy to do it and you look forward to doing it. Okay, it's both of those things combined, taking action and transforming the beliefs, because the action creates success references to reinforce the new beliefs. Okay, and also you want to avoid the whole like I need to language. I already know when someone tells me I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do my taxes, I need to clean out the garage, I need to prospect for my business, I need to eat better, I need to go to the gym, whatever it is, I already know they're probably not going to do it. And it's not because I'm negative, it's because I know that that languaging is not conducive to change. That is, oh, I have to do this, oh, I really don't want to do this, I'm going to hate it, languaging. So they're already anticipating negative, so they're going to avoid it. What you'd rather do is you want to change your languaging to I must. You want to change your languaging from I have to I get to. Those kinds of things create an opportunity for a breakthrough. And as we said, you committed to that commitment for a reason. So it's important that you're clear on the reason why you must do the thing, not on how you don't want to do it. Okay? Why must you do it? Why don't you just not do it then? Right? We say, well, I can't just not do it because I really want this result. Great. So stop throwing a pity party, right? And let's get down to why must I do it and get it accomplished. So when I hold someone to their commitments, when you have your coach hold you to your commitments, you are not holding a commitment to them. You don't commit to me, you don't commit to your coach. You commit to yourself. And your coach, like myself as a trained accountability coach, I will hold you accountable to yourself. I don't have a horse in this race. Of course, I'd love to see you succeed, and I'd love to see you grow and get better, but you're not going to disappoint me if you're my client if you don't follow through on your commitments, because I'm not attached to whether you do your commitments or not. Sure, I'd love to see it. That'd be awesome, but it doesn't impact my life if you don't do your commitments. So you're not going to disappoint me if you don't do them. You're not going to let me down or you don't do them if you're coach as well. It's not about us. We're not emotionally attached to whether you follow through on your commitments. Now, if you want to apologize to your spouse or your children for letting them down for not honoring your commitments, go right ahead. Okay, but we are simply here to enforce your commitment to yourself and to figure out why you do what you do. And if you're not following through, is that breakdown systematic breakdown or is that breakdown a beliefs issue? So there's a lot of things that factor into that. Bottom line is I'm going to strongly recommend that you make commitments to yourself and let your coach help you follow through on those without making excuses and covering up why you didn't do the thing you said you were going to do. Because this is for you. It's not for anybody else. This is for you. And if you don't make commitments, coaching tends to turn into a Q&A session, question and answer, and the answer is probably not going to have a lot of emotional movement to it. So it's critical, in my opinion, that you do new things that you wouldn't otherwise do, and that's where the growth's going to happen. And accountability is a great way, committing is a great, and accountability is a great way to get started on that process of taking action on something while it's uncomfortable, getting success references, and building your confidence. So be unstoppable. Follow through no matter what. Okay? Next one, do not defend or justify your problems or current results. Accept reality as it is, not what you wish it was or what you want it to be. The truth is what it is. Cold, hard, pragmatic facts. Whatever results you've gotten in your life, you have created yourself. You've dealt yourself the hand. You've made the decisions. Okay? Own that responsibility and recognize you must change your behavior to change your future results. All blame is a waste of time because it doesn't change you. That is a Wayne Dyer quote. All blame is a waste of time because it does not change you. Okay? So whatever happened to you, I'm sorry it happened to you. Okay? But now it's what are you going to do about it? Coaching is all about what are you going to do about it. And so when your coach points out things that you're not following through on, or things that are not working, or things that where you're falling short of the performance standard to hit the outcome that you have, don't defend or justify it. Don't blame somebody else. Don't say I didn't have the time. Don't say any of that stuff. Own it. Okay? You made some decisions. You may need to make some different decisions. Okay? Coaching is not therapy. Okay? If you've been through trauma in your life and you need to heal from that trauma, seek out a therapist. Coaches are not trained to help heal wounds or diagnose mental or emotional illnesses. That's not what we're here for. We are here to take a whole person and help make them better. That's what we do. So as a client, if you have some serious traumas you've been with, I would strongly recommend you seek out some professional help with that from a therapist or from a counselor, and focus on it that way. Doesn't mean that you can't talk to your coach about experiences that you've had and use it as a source of knowledge so that you can have an understanding of why you are the way that you have become or why you made the decisions you made. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's not the focus. Okay? So Jim Collins talks about in the book Good to Great, you can't make a series of good decisions without confronting the brutal facts. So this is really, really critical, okay? The money that's in your bank account right now is the money that's in your bank account. And it's a consequence of your decisions. You could show me anything you want, and I've had this journey myself where you have ownership. Even if someone else did something they shouldn't have done or attacked you, harmed you in some way, right? There's always something we could have done differently to improve the situation. So just own that. We never want to play the victim. It's not going to get us anywhere. We throw our pity party. We feel the feelings, and then we release them. And then what we do is we do what successful people do. We come to terms with it. We take responsibility for our share of the breakdown. And what am I going to do differently next time? Right? Because the results are the results. The money in your bank account is the money in your bank account. And no amount of justifying it, rationalizing, criticizing somebody else is going to change the dollars in your bank account, the weight that your body is, your blood pressure is, your BMI, whatever measurement system you're using for your current results is the result that it is. Okay, it isn't going to change the fact of the results. So let it go. Learn for what you could do. Focus on what you can control. Make the adjustment. Become better. And that is one of the things that you'll see makes you happy, because we become a lot happier when we take responsibility and take ownership of what we could do. You only have control over three things: what you say, what you think, and what you do. So let go of what anybody else did or didn't do. Always ask yourself, how could I have handled the situation better? And focus on that. Stay in your lane. Okay? Stay in your lane. Anything else is just an exercise in frustration. And people get frustrated because they're trying to control areas of life that they do not have control over. Anytime you do that, you're going to be frustrated because people are not going to follow you. It's not the way it's going to work. Okay? So even this entire video, is an influence video. I have no control over whether or not you do any of the things I'm suggesting in this video for you to do as a client of a coach. Whether you're my client or you're someone else's client, I have zero control over that. I'm not trying to control you. I love you in a way where you can feel free. I'm just holding up a mirror saying, hey, here's a lot of things people do that get in the way. You can take it, take the best and leave the rest. But I'm not trying to control you. What I am trying to do is I'm trying to help you. I'm just trying to give you some love, trying to show you, hey, here's the path that people have come before you. Here's where they have gone off the path and did not succeed. And here's the things that you can avoid. Here's the pitfalls you can avoid. And then it's up to you. but I want you to see it. At least if you can see it, you can go, okay, I got to watch out for this, and I got to avoid this, okay? So all blame, justifying, rationalizing, criticizing, justifying, all that is victim mode. Stay out of victim mode. You cannot win as a victim. You got to change yourself from a victim role to a victor role. Otherwise, you're just going to keep repeating the same patterns over, over, and over. If you don't start to create history, you're going to repeat history. That's also Gary Ryan Blair. So hopefully we've addressed that well, but you got to let it go. You got to take control of your life. Don't give your power away to somebody else. One other thing on that, I've seen a lot of people, they have this power they've given to someone who may not even be alive anymore. Well, so-and-so hurt me, and that I'll be like, well, I find out that person's been dead for 20 years. It's like, why are we giving our power to someone who isn't even in existence anymore here? Take your power back. Take your power back. Don't give someone else your power. Okay? All right. Enough on that. Next, do not allow yourself to think, I already know that. Okay. Necessary to reach your goal. If not, then you do not know that. Knowing means doing. If you're not doing it, then you don't know it. Okay? So this is a common thing I come across in people who are not coachable, if you want to use that terminology. What this is a lot of times we can fall into this. When I give speeches, one of the things I tell people when I give speeches is, hey, look, everything isn't always going to be earth-shattering. There may not be always a new idea to everything. But the question is, if you know it, are you doing it? First level. Second level is, are you teaching it to somebody else? And third level is, have you mastered it? Me personally, I don't feel like I've ever mastered anything. I feel like there's always more levels to understand. So when you learn an idea, first you learn the basics. Then you move to the advanced, right? Where do you go after you've learned the advanced? That's right. If you're thinking what I'm thinking, you go and you get a deeper level of understanding of the basics. That's what you do. So my original mentor taught me there's up to 10 levels of understanding of any idea. And I feel like as long as you think you've mastered something, you always have more room to grow. And I always feel like there's always more room to discover. You want to go to where you're doing something at a level where you're unconsciously competent at it. Just like a driver. A driver goes from being nervous about driving and parking and everything else, and what the other drivers are doing and all that, to the point where they get so confident at it, you have to remind them not to drive and text at the same time. Okay? So we want to get to that level. Even if you are already doing that, are you doing it to the level required by the goal you have in order to succeed at it? Right? As I mentioned, Gusu, give up or step up. Give up or step up is you must take enough action to reach your goal, or you must give up on the goal. So that is what applies a lot of the times here. Is we often will, I've seen people do this, where it's every idea that comes up in the coaching session, it's, oh, I already know that, or I'm already doing that, and they believe, or they're telling themselves that enough time just hasn't elapsed for the results to show up yet. Okay, you don't want to do that. Okay, because what you're doing is you're sitting back and you're basically making coaching being an entertainment. You're sitting on your high horse, being critical, making the coach dance, trying to please you, right? Or you're gonna, give the Roman emperor thumbs down to have them executed or something if they don't please you adequately, right? So people who do this tend to be very critical. They tend to have low esteem, and they tend to always criticize what other people are doing, but they're not actually doing what is required to be successful themselves. So I would just say, take a look in the mirror if you ever see this tendency showing up and go, hey, wait a minute. I'm asking myself the wrong question. It's not whether I already know something. The question is, am I doing it to the level necessary where success will be inevitable? Are you measuring your activities? Are you measuring the results from that activity? Okay, that's what you want to do. You can't learn or grow or get access to new information if you're closed mentally at everything you already know, because you've done thousands of years of research on something or whatever. I see this a lot with people. So don't allow yourself to get into that I already know that mode. We've all done it. I've done it. We've all done it. Okay? But if you don't have the results yet, it's critical to be open to suggestions on why you may not. Okay, so don't get yourself in that position. It's not going to help you to grow or get any better. Or at the very least, if you are in that space and you really believe, hey, I'm doing everything I can to accomplish this goal, I'm doing all that I can, great. Give yourself a commitment with your coach. Get with your coach and say, okay, we're going to table this particular strategy, table this particular thing until an adequate enough period of time has gone by that whatever you're doing ought to have created the result. And then, if what you're doing hasn't produced the result, you got to be open to critical analysis. You got to be open to insights on, okay, this isn't working. What can we do to make it better? That's what I would say. Instead, if I already know that, I'd go, how could I make this better? How could I perform better? How could I make it even better? Okay, so I love you. I want to see you succeed. I don't want you to get stuck in this negative thinking that you got it all figured out when the results aren't there yet. 14, talk about what matters most to you. You may talk about anything that you want during a coaching session, and that's going to include your goals, your life, your needs, what you want to improve, what's bothering you, an idea you have, a problem you're dealing with, even stuff that may not appear to be all that useful to talk about. So you definitely want to talk about what matters most to you. It's important that you get everything out that you're feeling, get everything out that you feel like you need to say so that your coach has information to help you out the most. It's kind of like going to that doctor and you're not telling them everything that's going on. It's hard to make an accurate diagnosis if you're not being fully honest about what's going on here. So talk about what matters to you. Your coaching is your coaching. It's not what your coach wants to talk about. Okay, so I always give my client the opportunity to pick what we're going to talk about that day. Now, there are some dangers around that. Sometimes clients may tend to pick something that is just top of mind for them rather than something that's important, as I've covered before. So watch out for that. Maybe collaborate with your coach, especially if you're coaching with me. Let's just get it out on the table, and then we'll discuss it together and determine what may be the most important thing that's going to move the needle in your life the most, right? That's going to make the biggest difference for you. We can talk about in that session. Okay, but don't hesitate to just get it all out. Get it all out. And at the end of the day, it's your coaching. It's coaching's for you. So we're going to talk about whatever matters most to you, right? So you basically override your coach if they're just disagreeing on that. But seriously think about together and collaborate together on what would be the most valuable thing to go over. So that's what I do. We get a lot of inventory. I'm skilled at helping pull out a lot of inventory of what to cover. But it's important that you talk about what matters most to you. And you'll know what that is. You should feel that. Cool. So talk about anything, even if you feel like it might be stupid or just, hey, FYI, this is something that's going on with me right now, coach. Right? This is how I'm feeling about something. I've had a lot of people say, hey, you're not going to, Chris, you're not going to like this, or I don't want to let you down, or, I feel like we've covered this before, Chris, or whatever. You know what? Just get it out there, because that gives us information. And information is important. It's feedback. It helps me to know, if I'm coaching you, it helps me to know what is going on in your mind and why you do, what your beliefs currently are, what actions you're currently taking. All those things, it's information to help me understand why you're doing what you're doing, so we can transform things that may not be working for you to help move you in even more better in the direction you want to go. Cool. Next, continue to focus on the main distinction you got out of your last session during the 10,000 minutes of your week, not just the 30 minutes of your session. There are 10,080 minutes in a 7-day week. Coaching is occurring all during your week, not just during your coaching session. What you talk about during your sessions will resonate with you during your week, and some of the seeds or ideas that have been discussed will grow between sessions. All you have to do is to fully live your life between coaching sessions and be open to seeing what you and I talked about, or you and your coach talked about. So what you want to do, it's easy to get into mind mush mode. Even watching a video like this can get you into mind mush mode from time to time. I understand it. But out of a session, you may have several things that you may realize that could be improved. Don't try to take them all on at once. Really just try to focus on one main takeaway focus and put your energy into that. Unless you just really feel like you got to tackle more than one, then go for it. But I'd recommend sticking to one main thing and focusing on that one main thing in the week or two, whatever it's going to be, before you talk to your coach again in those 10 to 20,000 minutes, whatever it is. And just get that coaching is not just about the session that you have with your coach, right? Whether it's 30 minutes, 60 minutes, an hour, whatever. It's going to be every week, every other week, whatever the structure is. You're getting benefits from the coaching in between the coaching sessions because you have a focus. You're more aware of what's going on. And the distinctions that you can get in your coaching sessions are things that it may take decades for most people to learn in just a few seconds by working with your coach on it. Or if they ever learn it, frankly. So live your life and be present to what's going on. Take good notes so you know what's been going on, as we talked about earlier. But really focus on one main thing you're going to apply, one focus you're going to have coming out of that session, and you'll find you're going to get better results than trying to change 13 things at once usually. Cool. Play full out. Now this is about effort. Success comes to the one most committed, not the one most qualified. So I'm here to help you do what you don't naturally want to do to be who you want to be, or your coach. That's what they're there for. Nobody can exercise for you. Nobody can eat for you. Nobody will grow your business for you. Nobody can be a husband or a wife or a mother, father, brother, sister, partner for you. You will have to do that. You will be the one producing the results in your life, not your coach. Raise your standards for your personal performance in your life. This is critical. You might even make a list of things. What are the things that only I can do? Nobody else can do these things. There are certain things only I can do. Stuff like this I'm doing for you, only I can do this the way that I do it. Okay, there's other people who can do similar videos, of course, but only I can do this the way that I do it, right? So I focus on what I can do. Then you can delegate the rest off, right? But here's what we're really talking about. We're talking about playing full out. We're talking about, level 1 is the pulse. Level 10 is full energy, full enthusiasm. At least you want to be at an 8, 7 plus on that scale of 1 to 10 consistently, and over time that'll equal a 10. But what a lot of people do is they just don't take enough action. Right? You want to play full out. Give it all you can do. Not the best you can do. Okay, the best you can do is not going to cut it a lot of the time. We want what is all you can do, because it's not doing fewer things the best a lot of the times. It's doing everything that you could do. Right? Everything you can. Be resourceful. What else can I do to accelerate accomplishing this goal? What else can I do to improve? Right? That's what we're looking at, constant improvement. So are you playing full out? When you look at your health, when you look at your finances, when you look at your business, when you look at your relationships, anything that's important to you, your kids, your intimate relationship, your health, your relatives, you look at your, like I mentioned, your sales, your company, your job, everything that you're doing where you have to perform and fit in with a team, right? On a scale of 1 to 10 over the last 30 days, what level have you been playing at? And if you're not happy with that level, or if you're not getting the results that you want in that area, I would just suggest to you to play full out. Just focus on adding so much value that you're blowing away the competition in that area. Make other people look bad because you're just delivering ridiculous amounts of value. Right? Just be an impact in the world. Be an impact with all these individuals. Be the best you can be. Keep growing, keep learning, keep getting better. Don't sit back and be concerned about what they're doing. Be the leader in those relationships. When you produce more than you consume, that's when you really start seeing things change in your life. That's when people start saying, "Hey, look at you. Look at him or her. They're really playing full out." And you'll see that will expose people. They'll either want to be joining you and playing full out, and they'll reciprocate, or they're going to start behaving badly, and there are people you can set boundaries for and kind of reveal who they really are. So nothing really happens until you start raising your standards for your own personal performance in your life. That's the first thing you must do, is raise your standards for what's acceptable for you. When you do that, then you start seeing things really shift. Next is be selfish. And be selfish, it seems a little weird to say that, but being selfish is very unselfish. Coaching is about you and what you most want. Okay, as we've said before, your coach is the only person who truly is focused on you. Everybody else is going to be looking to get something from you for them. Okay, so let's take advantage of that. Coaching is about you and what you most want. As such, you'll probably need to start putting yourself first if you haven't done so already. At the very least, you'll want to become selfish in the sense that you are what matters most. When you are happy and are doing well, others will benefit as well. If you don't take care of yourself physically, spiritually, financially, and emotionally, then you will have much less to give others. And they deserve the best you possible. And so do you. Love yourself enough, give yourself appropriate value to where you are filling up your own cup. You have many sources of love. You have many sources of connection, most of all from yourself. This is a big part of what coaching is about. It's a big part of what coaching is because you can only give what you have, okay? You can't give somebody bread if you're in the bread line, right? You first have to have it in order to give it. What a lot of people do is they think they're being unselfish, but what they do is they're martyring themselves and enter into almost a codependent relationship, just saying, I'm going to give, because if I give, then everyone will applaud me, everyone will love me. And then what they find is they either find that maybe they attract a lot of takers or people that will use them, or what they'll do is they'll get a significance kick by, kind of almost making people feel guilty because of all the sacrifices that they made. Now they find a way to kind of obligate people to them, and no one really wants that. So those relationships tend to get damaged. They get upset because they expected someone to give back when that person didn't, and all of that. But what you really want to do is you really want to meet your own needs as much as you can and take care of yourself, self-care in these areas. And that's incredibly attractive. You will like yourself more, your esteem will be high, your confidence will be high. Other people will see that you value yourself and they will treat you with more dignity, more respect. You will see people say what got into him or her in a positive way. Because oftentimes you get what you put into it. Oftentimes people pay you what you think you're worth, right? And at the end of the day, you have to bet on yourself, and you have to believe in yourself. You have to give yourself what you need so that you can then give your best self to those around you. So I want to encourage you to put yourself primary in the sense that you take care of yourself before you're taking care of others. Just like in that airplane, we've all gone through the airplane thing where the whole mask drops and they tell you what about the mask? They tell you put it on yourself, then you can put it on your neighbor. And that's what this is about. This is about, hey, you got to take care of yourself first so that you can help other people. It doesn't help anybody if you have a health breakdown. It doesn't help anybody if you're too broke because you gave away all your money and now you're in want and you have to try to get someone to help you, right? So get your foundation down firm. Take care of those things. Take care of your responsibilities to yourself and those around you. And then you can expand from that. But mostly we're talking about you because, again, most people are not going to take that, are not going to be overly concerned about you. They're going to be concerned about them, right? So you have to kind of take that ownership and go, okay, I got to be selfish here in a sense and take care of me so that I can be unselfish and help other people. Okay, so that's what this is really about. So let this help you fill your own cup so you can really make a difference for people at a really high level and really change lives, those of ones that are close to you and also those that you do business with and everyone you come into contact with. I want to thank you and honor you for watching this video, whether you're coaching with me or you're coaching with somebody else. I really honor you for getting a coach. Again, you deserve a coach. You don't need a coach. Coaching is something you never outgrow. It will always help you perform at a higher level. You will continue to see growth coming from coaching. It is a superpower. It's like X-ray vision. People always wonder what your competitive advantage is. What is your secret weapon? You're going to see things other people don't see. You're going to have growth. Other people are going to only wonder how you did it. And take that relationship, that team effort, and be a great teammate. And I want to hear that you're taking massive action. I want to hear that you're applying these things in your coaching with your coach or with me if you're working with me, and that you are continually improving and becoming your best version of yourself. And I'd love to hear the results of how this has affected you. I want to hear those success stories from you and see how it's helped you change your life coaching. And I just want to tell you, I believe in you. And I honor you for taking this step. It's very rare. Very few people are willing to look at themselves and take responsibility for their life is and say, hey, how can I improve? And you're taking the steps to do that. I urge you to follow through. I urge you to I urge you to take the leadership role with others, and that starts with taking this for yourself and showing it in your own life, and everyone will see you doing that. And a lot of people, it's just going to change lives for people. They're going to see you doing it, and they're going to say, hey, there's something special about him or her. I really want to. There's something special there. I want some of what he or she's having. So lead other people in your life. Lead yourself. I honor you. I appreciate you, and I look forward to hearing successes from you down the road.